We are the Localists. Localists.
And why are we called the Localists?
We chose the name Localists because the architects that we chosen to investigate and study really focus on being responsive, being contextual, and being sustainable at the same time. And what else, Nick?
I think we didn't even say who architects were.
Oh, that's right. Maybe we should.
Okay.
The architects I'm studying are Todd Williams and Billy Stan.
And Sauerbruch Hutton.
I'm studying Sarah Wigglesworth.
And Glenn Murcutt.
All right. So we
The other name that we chose, right, was the
Oh, yeah.
what the
Different
Gradients
shades
of
Yeah,
gradients
for-
of green.
Yeah.
It's green.
because
That
they
was-
all seem to be strongly interested in sustainable
And we
aspects.
tried to tie something together about the amount of people get involved in the firm. So we just discovered that our firms here,
Those three?
couples, sort of work, and Glenn Murcutt.
Glenn
himself.
Murcutt by himself.
So that's how the discussion started.
And I think it was also interesting their takes on sustainability, where like Murcutt and Wigglesworth maybe do a very low tech approach, and I think Sauerbruch gets at some of that, but then maybe for ours is more high tech and
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yep, I would agree.
Yeah.
Our timeline?
Let's look at the timelines and just see how recent a lot of the architecture is.
So the one you're seeing is Billy Stan and Todd Williams.
Which probably none of this is very legible, but the information is all there. Great.
Nicely organized.
Yes. And this is Wigglesworth work from 98 to 2007. Any words you'd like to?
I'll repeat that it's raw and crisp.
There you go.
It's hairy and smooth. Which is something that she really likes to say. I think it's a little different in England.
Yeah, and this is
Nick?
Sauerbruch and Hutton. Kind of starts in the very late 80s, early 90s, and goes up to current. And they started with some really small flats in London, kind of moved in to offices, and now they're actually taking on a museum. But they're all competition based for the most part, so it kind of shows they're very selective, and they do choose very similar projects.
And Glenn Murcutt's work starts in 74, kind of with some very modern, sleek horizontal lines, and then pretty quickly jumps into the long, narrow pavilion building with the corrugated metal that he's so well known for. In his 30 years of practice, he's done over 500 houses, so that's definitely his scale of building that he's concentrated on. And I don't know, qualities of his work would be, I don't know, they're simple, but they're elegant, and they're very clearly delineated, I guess. And this is our
Mapping of the influences.
Yep.
Yeah. So you can see a lot of big names in here, including Mies van der Rohe, also the AA in London, Foster, and a lot of other names as well. What else, Nick?
I know many of the architects kind of related to Mies and the Bauhaus era, specifically Sauerbruch and Hutton related to Joseph Albers and his work in color theory.
For Glenn Murcutt, one of the big influences was not an architect, but Henry David Thoreau, who was introduced to him by his father, as well as Alto and Mies.
And I think that one thing that comes out with Wigglesworth too is that the idea of a philosophical or an intellectual engagement. So Henri Lefebvre and the way that she's looked at the Maison de Verre are sort of things that, and Maison de Verre happened to be a shared interest between Murcutt and Wigglesworth.
And also Mies van der Rohe, as you can see, and the AA seems to be a the big influences, kind of like the overlapping influential people from in between TWBT and Merkit, as well as Wigglesworth and Sourdough.
Sourdough.
Sorry.
Okay, so then the last thing we wanted to do, right, is, so we're doing our stuff in the hearth, and there are new art pieces set up around the hearth, and we thought we would look at which piece of artwork most represented, or the piece of artwork that we thought our architect would most like and why. So, Nick?
This one immediately stood out simply because it is bright color and there's it's two complementary colors right next to each other, but also I think what comes out in these pieces is the scale. You can't really tell what it is. It looks like it's some image that they was taken a very close picture of and then just like blown up way out of scale, and that kind of gets to how Sauerbrück and Hutton think of color and material and how they can shape, like how they not only affect space but can actually shape it. And I don't know, I think that this is what would intrigue them about this art piece.
Okay. Next.
And I thought that Wigglesworth would find this piece appropriate. This is a rabbit, and I think that in some ways it's facile. It's sort of one of the furry things. It's a living thing. I think that it's using some interesting ways of representing that, and it is working at that medium scale. It's doing something playful, something that kids might really be excited about, and sort of something different and something to challenge you.
Watch out for that rabbit.
Watch out for the rabbit.
You want to do next?
Okay.
Not this woman? Oh.
I think Glenn Merkit would probably choose the lighthouse image because it's sort of an iconic image that has a specific purpose to it that functions really well for what it does, which is a big thing of what Merkit is after, is the most finely tuned machine, the building that works as every little intricate piece doing exactly what he needs it to do, which the lighthouse is what it is. It's just straight out there. It tells you what it is, and it's a beautiful thing in that it functions perfectly. So I think this would be Glenn Merkit's piece.
Awesome.
And then one of these.
It could be either this or this, but I think I prefer this because of issues. So at first I think it's black and white and it's very atmospheric, and the contrast between the gradients of gray seems very important. It shows the texture, and also is deceptive as well because from far away, it's called torso, by the way. So from far away, it might be a part of a human being, but then if you zoom in, it's actually a texture of the tree. So I think that's the idea of exploring possibilities of textures and materials, and it's exactly what I think Todd Williams and Billy Stien's also trying to investigate in their design, in their philosophies as well. So yeah, that's it for me. And
Look at that.
Localists, maybe?
So that's
Yeah,
the
so
Localists.
we're the localists.
The local.
Yeah.
And
Local.